Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hope Shot. This is our Sunday night, um, topic discussion. The subject tonight is roundtable discussion. It's been something I've been wanting to do, but all my buddies have been shooting me down, and here we are. We finally get to do it. I got to pick the topic tonight, so you, our viewers, and whoever is watching tonight, feel free to ask any of us whatever question you like. We'll be
Ooh, I like
talking.
it.
We'll be talking to each other, asking each other questions. And with that being said, can someone please read the Hope Shot Clarity Statement?
All right. The Hope Shot Clarity Statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common: recovery as a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. Thank you for being a part of our family.
Thank you. Okay, so is there anybody even on yet, Justin? I can't see.
Yes, there is one. Hey, anybody got their phone?
I'm pulling it out, but y'all feel free to leave questions for us in the comments, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, so here I'll start off with a question, and this for anybody who wants to answer. Okay, from your first month in recovery to the last month in recovery, what are you doing then? What were you doing then, and what are you doing now? The similarities, where you're at. Go
ahead, Caesar. You talk about this all the time.
Oh, okay. I guess I've been voluntold. I do a lot of the same things that I did in the first month. I stay willing to hit meetings. I stay willing to talk to another addict or another alcoholic on a daily basis. I still have the same accountability structure, my support network. The biggest difference between the first month and the last month is the level of responsibilities and obligations that I have in my life. When I first got out of rehab, I could devote pretty much full time to recovery, and fast forward going on 8 years, job, family, obnoxious dogs, kids, just all this stuff is extremely time consuming. So I make a more conscious effort today to make sure that I'm putting my recovery first every day, because all the things that I've prayed for that have come true in my life can also distract me from the main thing, which is I've got to stay sober if I want to keep all these things in my life. So, the only real difference is I've got a lot of distractions in my life when I had nothing when I came in. There was nothing to distract me. I had nothing. So all I had was recovery.
It's like what they say, the blessings. What is it? The blessings will be the thing that you receive from recovery, can be the very things that take you out if you don't stay focused on your recovery. It's tricky. We get all these blessings, but then we have to keep our eye on the prize, for lack of better terms, but keep putting recovery first.
I have to constantly remind myself that the job, the family, all these things are gone in a split second if I don't put my recovery first. So, I can't make work more important than my recovery. Unfortunately, I can't make family more important than my recovery, because they'll be gone. I've got to do what I have to do every single day to stay sober. And that's the way that I keep these blessings in my life.
And for us here too, it's about understanding each other's recovery and making sure that the other one is able to do what they need to do to keep that balance and to keep recovery first. And it definitely, it's an even trickier dynamic when both of us, we have to keep what we do, our programs. I mean, Caesar is so much more rigid than me, but I'm not the same person as him, and he's not the same person as me. Recovery, while the same, it's the same thing, it looks different in our lives. Yeah.
I'm institutionalized. I'm black and white, and I need structure in my life. She is not institutionalized. She's a very free thinker. Her program does not look like my program, and that's completely normal, and that's completely fine.
He thinks in black and white, and I think in neon. Like that's the easiest way to sum it up.
Fuchsia and teal.
Fuchsia and teal.
Okay, so James, are we having
Yo,
difficulty?
if you guys can hear me, I don't mean to cut anyone off, but I can't hear anything.
Really?
We can hear you. I don't even know why I'm saying that because you can't hear us.
Yeah.
So
All right.
probably go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Justin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah, I know you can hear me. I
Okay.
can hear you too. It's James can't hear us. So I'm gonna tell him to exit out and come back in.
Okay. Justin, what is the difference in where you were at a month into your recovery and where you're at the last month? What are some things that stick out to you? And
So my first month in recovery, I mean, was, that newness, that newness of everything where like, I was willing to do whatever, whenever, and however to get clean. Now, fast forward to today, like, I still had, when I first got in recovery, still had family. I still had my kids, I still had the things that, I didn't lose. So building wasn't really something I had to do then. It was more, just trying to find myself. And even today, it's gotten a lot better. But today it's a little different. My life has gotten a lot fuller. It's gotten a lot fuller. Sometimes, man, we can get lost in life. Like I've gotten lost in life, being so busy and putting, I always try to put new things on top and try to, still trying to figure out who I am and what I want to do and this, that, and the other thing that the recovery that I used to love to do in the first month of recovery or the first 6 months, or even the first year was, that was the only thing that really mattered to me was the recovery. Nowadays, it can get twisted real quick and it can be put on the back burner so easily, because of, you get life and, you think you got it figured out, but I still ain't got it figured out. I still have to go back to this stuff and I still have to freaking come back like I'm a newcomer and reevaluate. You know what I mean? It's always a reevaluation of what I'm doing, why my life is a mess, why am I miserable? You know what I mean? Before I knew exactly why I was miserable. I was fucking using, like I knew exactly why I was feeling those things. Now, fast forward into where the using hasn't been in 3.5 freaking years, and now it's like, I have to figure out the deeper shit. You know what I mean? The surface shit was the drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? That was easy to figure out that my life was unmanageable. Now I have to get even deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's always evolving. It's always trying to figure it out. What I need to do in order to make me better. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it's a perfect example of the drugs aren't really our problem. They're a solution to our true problem, which is our inability to manage our lives, and so you take that solution away and you get some sobriety in you and you realize, hey, I'm still crazy. You know what I mean?
Legit.
What do I do about this? I don't have a solution anymore. So let's figure out this other solution. James, I definitely want to hear your views on this subject. Where you were your first month of recovery compared to your last month?
Where I was my first month. Sitting in
Yeah.
the
Differences, how you were then, how you are now, what are you doing different, things of that nature.
Yeah. So my first meeting, one of my first months of my meeting, I was sitting on my hands in a meeting because I wanted to get high so bad because people were vaping in a meeting. Fast forward, I've thrown away about 5 vapes. They don't work for me. I'm back to but as far as my recovery goes, man, like because of the pandemic, like, it really set me back. So I've kind of gotten back to the basics. I'm working with my sponsor again. I hopped into a service commitment again. I'm literally in the phase of my recovery where I'm trying to do everything that I did in the beginning. The only thing that I'm not doing the same with is probably as many meetings. Well, we can drop the word probably, not as many meetings. With the move change, and I know it's an excuse. I'm looking to actually, and I read it somewhere in the comments, somebody was asking about starting a meeting. I'm actually looking to start a meeting up here in Spring Hill area, because there's a lack of here, and it's hard to say this is my home and not do my part. And okay, if we're going to talk about the first month till now, how cool is that? Thank God the predecessors before me had meetings open for me to go to every day, and now I get to fucking make a meeting and start a new one and give people a meeting to go to. You know what I mean? All I'm doing is doing the same thing the predecessors did before I got here, man.
Beautiful. Nick, how we doing, bro?
We're doing great, thank you. Well, first month as of now, obviously, is the question.
Yeah.
My first month, my life was a mess, man. I had warrants for my arrest. Obviously, a bad habit. Couldn't see my kid. Family didn't want me around. Any friends I thought I had either, used up as much as I could get from them. And dude, I was just broke, man. Financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, wiped out, you know. And like I used to hear people talk about that pink cloud, and like I never really had one, man. I had so much because I had caused it all, right? Nobody did it to me. I did it to myself. I had caused so many problems. But I said on here the last time I was here, a couple times before that, like I couldn't do my life today that I have with 30 days, with 15, you know what I mean? Like, my life has grown. So early on, man, I was able to go to a couple meetings a day. Shit, I didn't have a job, so I had to go to, I went, working with a sponsor. I was doing a lot of writing early on, and it suggested to me to do the writing because my hand putting it on paper will start to slow this down, right? As I'm putting it on paper, it'll start to, because I'm all over the place. I'm walking away from I don't know what we would even call it, a drug replacement clinic, and I'm a mess, dude. A complete mess. I'm snot in meetings, sneezing, throwing up, I mean, as today now, some of the things I've obtained are a little bit of patience, a little bit of tolerance, some peace, some tools to be able to deal with some of the stuff like you talked about, man, the not being able to manage my life, through this. I mean, I still do the basic things. I don't do the step work as much. Through doing some, working with a sponsor and working with some guys and coming around, they've taught me the application part of it too. So I probably try to attend 2 to 3 meetings a week now. Like right now, I have a full life. I haven't been able to get on here because we've had to make up rain games for my kids' baseball. I help out with that. Super busy at work, but prayer meetings and in constant contact with, other people in this recovery process, whether it be James in the morning on my ride in or John, whoever, or hey, because, I don't have a drug problem today, but I still have a thinking problem, and, through that the tools as far as sometimes the phone, just, hey, let me tell you what I'm thinking here, right? Then I can run that by somebody else who's not in the situation with a little more clarity as to what's going on. Hey man, did you look at it from this way? Or, yo, whoa, what are you doing, man? You know what I mean? But I mean, listen, the first 30 days were a nightmare. The last 30 days have been beautiful. I still have life's problems, right? Like I still do, but it ain't been in the last 30 days, but it's probably been in the last 2 months that I've seen two people that I'm real close to on the news for good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like people that I'm real tight with, I saw on the news for some good things, man.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time that's ever, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
life's good, man.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for me also is life still happens however long we're sober, and
For sure.
it's just a difference. The major glaring difference today is, because I'm still insecure, I'm still weird, I'm still awkward, I still don't like, being forced in social situations and stuff like. But today I can handle all of it because I have a solution. I can navigate through these things that I've had my entire life, and finally I have this solution. I have a way to just kind of face life and all its happenings with a sense of dignity and grace and not be too awkward. Not all the way awkward, but not too awkward. What Caesar said it last night. We were driving back and he's like, our greatest gift is that we have this blessing of recovery. We have a solution for everyday problems. And we can, us that have been prisons, hospital beds, in the gutter, and we're living this life with pretty much, lack of anxiety, some sense of hope and faith. We're always, people I surround myself with are usually smiling. They're usually giving back. They're usually kind to strangers, like all these great qualities. And these were, as far as me, I was, counted out a long time ago. But we have this gift that we've been given. And then some people will never be able to experience that gift. They will perpetually, till the end of their days, live in a sense of like unease and irritability and discomfort and chaos. You know what I mean? So when I sit here and I want to look back at my past and feel any ounce of regret, I have to remember how gifted I am today with the ability to face life on a daily basis with the mindset, the perspective, and the faith and the hope that I have. Okay, so Tiffany, you thought you were getting away with this.
Wait, hold on. Before you go to Tiffany, that's a really good question.
We were just saying the same thing.
Where's that?
So, how did y'all handle the clicks when I came in? Tiffany, you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because it may not be the same. So when I came in,
exactly.
The people that were in there, they all knew each other. I was on the outside, and I'm speaking for 12-step fellowships. That I came in, I was the new guy, but people extended their hands and welcomed me, but that doesn't mean they know me. So I was kind of on the outside of these things.
But
hold on, I'm not done.
okay, all right.
We ain't done.
What I did was shut my mouth and listen and take and get what I could out of those meetings. And over time, my own clique just formed. I gravitated to the people that I wanted to be around. They gravitated to me, and I have a circle of people now that I trust and that I love and that I want to spend time with. That did not happen overnight. I didn't feel like I was just, man, I found my people. The first day I walked in the door, I was like, oh my God, why am I here? This is awful. These people are awful. These meetings are awful. I don't want to do any of this. And I didn't feel super welcomed, but fortunately there were some people that reached out their hands, and there are people that I still talk to today. So, cliques are in all aspects of life, at work, at the meetings, at wherever. You can't get hung up on the fact that you're not in the cool clique. I mean, we're in recovery. If you want to be the coolest person in recovery, You know, that's like being the coolest kid on the short bus.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey,
He talks about.
Let Tiff do.
Oh
no,
okay.
let Kelly finish, and then we'll.
Only thing I was going to say is Caesar mentioned some people reach their hands out. I think it's important to remember to push back past your own uncomfortability and reach your hand out too, because these are other people just like us, right? Like they might have the same, whether they're coping with it or showing it in a different way. They might know one or two other people. Reach your hand out too. That was one of the most uncomfortable things that I ever had to do, but it worked, you know, like pushing past those social awkwardness moments and introducing yourself. That's all I was going to say. So it's reciprocal, right? Like you have to reach your hand out as well.
You know, I wanted to say, like, if somebody had the best dope, would you freaking insert yourself into that trap house? You know what I mean? That's how I feel about cliques. Like if I want to be a part of that, I'm going to do everything possible when they go out to eat. Well, you know, if just start talking to one person and like it just you got to get over that fear of going up to somebody and like just inserting yourself into there. You know what I mean? You just got to get over that, because if they had some good dope, you would go in that clique so fast it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Real quick, in all honesty, I'd love to hear Nathan, James, and Nick's perspective, because this is a great question. This is a really great question.
But why don't you
Oh,
put she has an experience with the whole clique thing because
mine is from the outside.
I went into recovery and she wasn't like going with me, and then like she like didn't like it. So it's tell me your experience on it.
Okay, so when he first came into recovery, I was supportive of him doing it. I didn't understand what it meant, what it was. I just knew that him and James ingested it. And so, and their lives had changed. So I was like, yeah, we need change. So let's do this. Cool. I support you doing it. So he did the 90 and 90. And immediately my first thought of it all was it's like almost like a cult. And like these people are like, oh my gosh. And then when I was around my first event, when there was like a big event, I felt the same way about like, oh, these people are so like everybody knows everybody, and I'm just over here in the cut. Like this is weird. This is just not. I didn't like it at all. You know, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, cool, you go be with your people. I'm just gonna stay home and
Yeah.
You know, it really does. To answer the how do y'all handle the cliques, me personally, once I actually discovered I needed to become or find recovery myself, it really comes down to just keep showing up. Like Kelly said, show up and, or I think Jesse said, I'm sorry. But, you know, show up and be there and continue to go to meetings, take what you can from them. And the more people see you, the more, you know, and then like Caesar said, you know, you kind of create your own circle because of the vibes that you give off. You know, somebody will see you holding a car door for somebody or holding the door open, and they'll be like, man, that was really nice of you. How are you? You know, so the more you come around, people are able to see you. So then they feel comfortable coming and talking to you. But like Kelly said, too, you got to be willing to walk up to somebody and be like, hey, I'm new here. How are you? What's your name? You know, but I know that's really hard because I wasn't willing to do that at all, you know, but I did have loving, awesome people who came up to me and said, hey, how are you? And, you know, the awkwardness is felt by every party. So it's not like you're alone in that. And then both parties leave going home feeling really kind of special because they got to meet and talk to somebody new today, you know? Yeah. Oh, and then Nate, to answer your question, what is different from the first month of recovery to now? I mean, like I just said, first month of recovery, I thought everybody was freaks and that I was just this cool person over here and I didn't understand any of it. And then as I kept coming around because of him doing it, I was like, wait, that sounds like me. Wait, do I have a problem? Oh my goodness. You know, like it took me a while to catch on to the fact that I had a huge problem, you know, and, so it took some time. And then now, like Nick said, these last 30 days, man, any problem that life is throwing at us, we can still smile and grit our teeth through it and know that like, okay, cool, let's figure out how to move through this one, you know? And I think that's the most special thing ever.
Awesome. Yeah. So about the click deal, you know, I was just thinking to myself, one thing that I wish only I can see now that I couldn't see then because I have a problem with crowds and new people to begin with. And if you come, my home group can be intimidating. When you pull up there, there's going to be at least 50 people out there, and I know the feeling, man, because I've been there. Like, it's super awkward, it's uncomfortable. And if I could tell myself then what I know now, I would say, listen, because I know from personal experience now that there is just all these people are dying to help you. They're just looking forward to getting to know somebody new. My high point of any meeting is when someone raises their hand that they're new in recovery. I can't wait for the meeting to get over, to go introduce myself, give them my phone number, because I get it, man. And the whole click deal, that's just life. There's always going to be groups. There's always going to be people that gravitate towards each other. But I mean, how badly do you want this deal? You know what I mean? I found 1,000,001 excuses not to reach out my hand, and it kept me sick for so many years. So when it came to a point of like life or death, 0 options left, and being completely miserable, I didn't really care too much about who was doing what or who hung out with who, or I just wanted somebody to take me through this process, So, James, what do you think? Clicks, run it.
First of all, I am the Clits commander. You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. Yes, I have been dying to say that this whole time. It's a Jay and Silent Bob reference. If nobody's paying attention right now, epic. Okay, so how do I handle it? Listen, man, I'm a people person. So that's actually been a really easy trait for me. But I seriously think that. So there's some people that will hate the clicks and this and that, and like, for me, I think they're absolutely amazing. Have you ever actually sat outside of a meeting or work spot or wherever and kind of just watch people be people? Like, people levitate to, like, water floats at its own level or whatever that thing is. Like, dude, people levitate to their people. And our brain works off of sight, sound, things we hear, how you look. Like, you'll find your people. And thank God there's clicks. Like, thank God, because, dude, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Not everybody is going to want to fuck with me. That's a fact. I'm loud. I'm obnoxious. I cry a lot. Like, what do you want from me? You know what I'm saying? But, like, dude, deep down, because of this recovery process, I have found my way. And my buddy Kenny says it, dude. And, like, I'm a great man because of recovery. I'm a great man. And I say it proud. So, like, being in a clique, my best suggestion to people is just be you. Be you, because diversity is our strength. And it's the same thing that makes America great. Dude, we are a coloring pot. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with the rooms. We are a coloring pot. All life's looks, all this comes into here, man. And if you just stay here long enough, you can find your people. The people that you click with, that you vibe with, that whatever, man. So I think they're super, super important. I think another thing that I would suggest people that have a hard time dealing with clicks is changing the way we think about them, because my perspective is my reality. And if I already hate the clicks, then I'm a loner and isolating. If I start to find out what these things are about, and I'll end on this because I think it's really important. One of the things that was really easy for me to get with the clicks was I just did service in my fellowship. It made it easier. I just suited up and did the service, and next thing you know, oh my God, Johnny's here.
Oh my God. Yes. Everybody, yeah.
But like, you just find your people, man. And if you're really uncomfortable, get into service, and then you'll stick with the winners, and then boom, you're there. Clicks are a blessing because they give everybody an opportunity to fit in somewhere.
Beautiful. Okay, I want to just reiterate that everybody watching, ask us a question. Ask us a question, we'll answer it. I want to get Nick's input on clicks and then Johnny's. Go ahead, Nick.
All right. Yeah, I think at one point in time the question said, how do I handle the clicks? I think early on I would think like this one's clickish, that one's clickish, this one's clickish, this one's clickish. As I started to do a little more work on myself, you know, sitting down, and I'm in a 12-step fellowship, so when I started to get further along in my step work, the click stuff didn't really bother me because that self-obsession starts to go away a little bit, and then I start to like, okay, maybe they're just hanging out with them because that's who they like to hang out with. It's not that they don't like me. They're just friends with them. I haven't really necessarily put myself out there to get to know them. And then kind of like what Caesar said too, you know, there's clicks at my job. I still get up and go to work every day because I have to. I have to pay my bills, right? I got to eat. I got to keep the lights on. You know, I got to put food on the table for the kid. So I'm going to get up and go to work every day, right? And there's clicks there. But the one thing that has worked, and like I've said, is giving me the ability to wake up every morning since May 7th, 2013 and not put on me and make it through the day by choice. I'm not going to let a click remove me from that or my perception on what I think it is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it stems on, like I said before, the thinking problem I have, you know? And like I said, that self-obsession, that thought of, man, they're just hanging out with them because they don't like me, you know? And that's some of the shit that kept me sick anyway. You know what I mean? Like that thinking the world was against me. And a lot of that changed with doing a fourth and a fifth step, man. You know, a couple of them. And, you know, getting honest and talking about how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? Like, as a man, you know, I'm not supposed to feel. I don't talk about that shit, right? But if it's bothering me, I should talk about it. So I think that's a really good question. That's it.
Hey, real quick before Johnny goes, I just want to read the comment that Sarah said. Sarah said, and just never forget you're here to save your life. Friends are a bonus, not the point. I really like that. That's true.
You didn't come here to make friends, pretty much.
They are
came
a
here to
bonus,
save your
and they'll
life.
happen if you just keep showing up to save your life.
Exactly. I think Nate's froze. All right, Johnny, what you got, man?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
All right, so what's up, guys? The first round of this was what? Comparing for my first day, right?
First month to this last month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what are you doing in your first month compared to what are you doing in your last month?
Okay.
Exit out and come back.
So my first month was horrid. I was probably in detox for about a month and a half. So my first month was super rough, man. But luckily I had, you know, a little go around with recovery before, so I knew what I needed to do, and I was plugged in with people, you know, that knew I needed to do these things also. So luckily I was able to get my butt moving, you know. It wasn't like it was the first time around for me when it was, you know, it was foreign. I knew what I had to do, man. And as tough as it was, you know, people dragged me around to meetings. I spent a lot of time with my sponsor getting back into, you know, where things went wrong and what I'd left out and, you know, my behaviors leading up to why I went back out, you know. And but man, them first 30 days, I mean, this time around 6.5 years ago, my first probably 2 or 3 months, man, because I was, you know, detoxing off everything, including long-term methadone. So it was hellacious for me, man. But I got involved is what I did. I remember in the beginning, like, you know, my first time around, I hadn't had a license in forever. I got a license. I got a car. I got some teeth. I got, you know, my life came back together pretty quickly. And by the time I came back from going on a run after all that stuff happened. I had some broken teeth, a beat up, broken down car because, you know, everything we touch turns to shit when we're using. And I knew, like, so my thing was I got back, I moved into a sober living environment again. I loaded my car up with guys. I went to meetings. I tried to be of service even when I was ill, you know. Fast forward, and at that time, absolutely nobody trusted me. Relationships were burnt down again. You know, not many people were talking to me again because it was, you know, it was the same old story. It was, there's Johnny back to the same old bullshit he's always done for 38 years, you know. Fast forward to today, I am doing a lot of the same things I did when I got there, maybe at a different level, but I'm still very involved in recovery and the community. I definitely have some commitments. We have a meeting on Thursday nights that we do at the clubhouse. I'm very involved with stuff that goes on at the clubhouse. Lisa's a board member, so that makes me look kind of cool, you know. And you know, I spend a lot of the time when I'm not working trying to be involved with others, man. And today, the relationships I have in my life, you know, all the stuff, you know, all the amazing things that happen when you follow this process, you know, and pass it along to other people, man. It's phenomenal, man. You know, just recently I've had the opportunity to try and help get a couple people plugged into, you know, detox treatment, whatever. And it reminds me of how, you know, when we want this thing and we have no idea what it looks like, how scary it is, you know, like, but the reality being that what have we been doing for the last 10, 15, 20 years, our whole life, you know, just being pathetic, searching for the next one by any means necessary, doing all this stuff, hurting people, you know, cutting our families off. And then we get an opportunity to change our life, right? That a lot of people don't know about or don't get the chance to do. And then they're like scared about what's going to happen when they go into recovery, you know? And it just reminds me, I remember that too. I had no idea what recovery looked like, but I knew I didn't care what it looked like anymore. When I got to that point is when I was able to actually get recovery, you know? Before it was, how long am I going to be in treatment? You know, well, how many days am I going to be gone? What is it going to, you know, what are they going to do there? This time I was all out of questions. I was all out of anything, you know, and I was able to receive this gift. So as far as the clicks thing goes, you know, I've been to a lot of different places, with recovery. I've tried it in West Palm. I've tried it in Miami. I've tried it in New York. And I always say, you know, you guys have heard me say it too. I came to Ocala for recovery, man, and there's something different about it here. There's magic going on in this community. I don't know. I can't explain it, but when people come here, they know exactly what I mean. So for me, the click thing is, I believe it's anywhere you go, you know, it really is. It just depends on the people, you know, there's always going to be the cool kids. There's always going to be, you know, the old timer bitching in the corner. There's always going to be that select group of people that's in every group of recovery all around the world. You know, I chose, you know, years ago to surround myself with the people who are doing recovery, not talking about it, not, you know, could spit some really good game spiritually and then walk out of the meeting and, you know, take advantage of a person or do some grimy stuff. You know, I surrounded myself with people who were successful in recovery, in life, in business, and, you know, in connecting with something greater than themselves. That's what attracted me at the end, you know. And so yeah, that's kind of my piece on all that. And I'm digging the round table. I thought, like I looked at the clock and I heard all your share and it was like 8:20 and I'm like, wow, this is going to run out quick. And then Justin reminded me that it's the round table. So.
Hey, we have another question from Kelsey. You want me to read it?
Is it the hopeless one or the long-term recovery one?
What made you know you were completely hopeless and ready to change?
I could start with answering that. So I knew I was hopeless for about probably over a decade. I knew I was hopeless. There's a difference between knowing you're hopeless and being ready to change. There's like I was hopeless for so many years. What the thing is, what ran parallel with that hopelessness was my belief that I wasn't worthy of change. I didn't believe I was deserving of it. I didn't believe that I was capable of achieving it. I just thought that this was my lot and this is how I was going to live out my days. I had hurt too many people. I had been to too many dark places. I had no possibility of a future with happiness, love, faith, hope, or any of that. And I wore that and I believed in that wholeheartedly for a very long time. So what was the defining moment when I was ready to change? I don't know. There wasn't really like this one defining moment. It was just an accumulation of of devastating moments. It was an accumulation of like circumstances, and there came this little small window and I knew that this was my time. It was so definitive and it had nothing to do with, because man, a year and a half earlier before this point, I had gotten my daughter taken away by DCF. And what's more hopeless and more would make a father more prone to change than something like that. But even then, and that's how this disease is cunning and baffling. It is in so many different ways, because it wasn't that. It wasn't my mom slowly dying of cancer. It wasn't multiple prison terms. It was none of these things. It wasn't loss of every material thing that you could possibly imagine. And no, it was that emptiness. It was that void. It was that, like, just like Johnny said, that pathetic, disgusting feeling that I had every time I looked in the mirror. And I just I wanted to feel something different, anything different. And whatever that looked like, if it meant, me dying, if it meant me giving this a shot, and that's something that I contemplated, which just shows how sick I was. Like, man, do I really want to give this a chance? Or do I want, and with the help of some outside assistance, I got put into a position where I was forced to make that decision. And thankfully, I was desperate enough to surrender. And it was the strongest and bravest thing I've ever done. So, yeah. Who else? Hopeless. Change.
Me.
Okay. Plenty of that here.
Like you said, man, I'd been hopeless for a long time. So I wouldn't use the term hopeless as the catalyst for the change, to accept the help and be ready. I had fully accepted that I was probably going to die in the streets, or I was going to spend the rest of my life in prison. What changed was I ran out of ideas, schemes, and plans, and I always had another, if I just get off probation, or, if I just do this, or I ran out of all those if I just. And, it wasn't even my worst relapse. It wasn't my worst incarceration when I went to the last rehab that I ended up in. It was literally, I had lost everything and I had no plans for when I got out. So it wasn't, when I get out, I'm going to do this. Like, I always owned a bar, or I had something to go out to. Everything was gone and I had no plans and no options left. That's what made me willing to listen and to receive a message of hope. As long as I still had that little tinge in my mind of, if I can just get 6 months under my belt and then, get this and get that, it wasn't going to stick. That's for me. I had to have no more options, no wiggle room. The recovery was the only route that I had left. It was either that or I knew the other option, homeless, incarceration, death, so I had that last little fork in the road there. It was either do recovery or seal my fate. And I chose recovery. Drops Mike.
James.
Listen, man, I can't really tell you the moment that I wanted, like Caesar said, it was like, I knew for a long time I was hopeless. When I started begging God to not want to do this as I'm pushing a plunger down one more time, I mean, you don't get any more hopeless than that. You know what I mean? And I wasn't done then. I'm going to call it grace and favor, man. Because I don't think I was smart enough to get myself out. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I got enough evidence in my life that says it had nothing to do with me and God using me for a bigger plan. I went through some shit to be hope to someone else, man. I can't tell you the process. I don't know when it happened, how it happened. I remember being in fucking jail and then it just hit me, man. I didn't want to go to prison and I knew I didn't belong in there with them people. Like, our conversations were different. We was talking about this last night at Justice House. Like, they was talking about chopping people up and put them in the bot, in the tub. And I was like, God, I'm in the wrong spot. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Someone let me out, and I just wanted to do something different, man. I knew I was a family guy. I have kids and I don't know, but even then I can't say I was like, oh my God, I'm so ready. Something happened, man. Grace and favor. True story. Grace, favor, and mercy got me here. I really thoroughly like to believe that this is just part of God's plan for me so I can be a vessel to someone else and a light to someone else, man, and spread a message of hope. Because things that are happening in my life are just unexplainable, bro. Unexplainable. God's will for me is always better than my own, man. So I'm just gonna let him take the glory on this one. So thank you.
Yeah. Justin.
Sorry, I'm trying to do things. I'm doing things and stuff. I remember when I first got in here, I wasn't manageable in my addiction at all. I was just maintaining, I guess you could say. It was maintained, and I was maintaining my life. I was maintaining. And through the course of that, I, passed a test to try to get a freaking license to where I don't lose my job and stuff like that. And through that process, it got absolutely worse because throughout my life, I was never accepted. I was never accepted by anybody. I was full of hopelessness, straight up. I was counted out. I always set myself out from everything. I'm never good at this. I'm never going to be that. I can't get recovery. I don't know how the fuck they're doing it, but I can't get it. I always ousted myself before I even tried. Well, when I tried this and I actually passed the test, that should have gave me some gratification that maybe, just maybe, I can keep going because I guess I ain't dumb. You know what I mean? And through the next months, the using got so bad because in my head, that committee that's up there spinning those wheels and freaking making the decisions for myself put me to where they were not going to accept me again. I'm a felon. I'm this. I'll never be anything until they did. And that was my turning point in my life where I'm yo, maybe I got a chance, you know, maybe I can have a good life. This is my last opportunity to actually be a human being. And actually I put my all into this, and 3.5 years later, here I am, you know, on the Hope Shot sharing about freaking recovery. You know what I mean? So that's where it came from. But man, I had years and years. I mean, when I came into recovery, it wasn't my worst of my worst. You know what I mean? My worst of my worst was 7 years before that, when I was shooting up and freaking being a crackhead and freaking homeless. And then I, then just trying to change drugs and stuff. And then it kind of like filtered back into the worst stuff. And, but I had a life full of hopelessness, tons, but it took that point in my life to actually have the change I needed, to actually have the willpower, I guess you could say. It was definitely a God moment for me. And like, it's hard for me to say that because like I have a little bit more faith these days than I had before. And, that was definitely a God moment, that somebody accepted me and wanted to see, like, didn't care about my past and, gave me a second chance, so that was the hope right there that gave me the push. That's it.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey,
I'm
sorry. I'm over here giggling with Lisa. What was the question again?
Oh no, just that, at what point at what point did you become hopeless and ready for change? I know this is a similar answer to mine.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I believe that I can think back. I like what Justin said because, like, my days of hopelessness, I mean, when I knew that I was hopeless was way long before I got help. I was, I spent a lot of years, man, not having absolutely any control of, getting locked up, going to prison, doing all these things that we do when we're in active addiction. And I want to say somewhere around like 23, 24 is when things started to get really, really dark for me. When things like, when I believe it was somewhere in that area where I crossed over to what I call the dark side, where it was, anything goes, fully addicted, daily IV use, smoke crack, all that, the sordid places, the anything goes, no matter what. And I knew then, and I like welcomed that I was hopeless. But years and years and years of consequence and the same thing over and over, waking up to the same thing over and over again. It was like, I always used to say, it's like Groundhog Day, man, the movie. Wake up and nothing changes. It's the same exact thing every day, for years. And I think one of the defining moments for me was when I came home from prison, like 10 years and 3 days ago. I, with the best intentions of my mind, I wanted to do something different. And the minute that I hit the ground walking, I was, right back in it, man. Absolutely no control, no nothing. And, usually I'd run another couple of years until I got locked up again or whatever would happen. And I was having these little moments where I was like, man, I got to do something different. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, at that time, I was like, I think I'm almost willing to try it, but I wasn't still all the way ready yet. And a couple more months played out and I became willing, man. I remember right before I came to Ocala, I was sitting in a hotel room. I had gotten with Lance and I had tried this little recovery thing for a little while, put together 60 or 70 days and, got a job and got a new shirt and a new pair of sneakers and a girlfriend, like we always do. And, I went out one night and used, and within 3 days I was in a hotel room, locked down with street people, where I was comfortable. That was where my comfort zone was, you know. And 2 days after that, all my paychecks, all the money's gone. I lost the job, and I'm watching two people fight over a little broken piece of a crack stem. And I was like, man, what the hell am I doing? Like, it happened that quick again, you know. And I reached out to a friend, or a friend reached out to me and said, are you willing to, if I can get you into treatment, are you willing to go right now? And I said, yes. And that was kind of where I was like, ready to go, man. That was one of the times. And then, you know, again, like you guys know my story, I came and kind of did the same thing in Ocala. I stayed clean a year and a half, and I went back out. And, you know, people talk about rock bottom and they talk about hopelessness and all this stuff, man. But and people say, you know, when you stop digging, of course, that's true. That's when rock bottom is. But for me, man, I have had experienced like rock bottom so many times, and you know what people would be scared to death of, the normal people, you know, prison, institutions, jails, staph infection, seizures, strokes, drug induced. None of that stuff scared me. What scared me this last time around was that my soul was actually gone, and there was something missing from me that had never been missing before, and it scared the crap out of me. You know, 24, 25 years of running, doing what I did, but this last time it was just like, it was unbelievable, man. I even said to Mike, my sponsor, I said, I'm scared, man. My soul is gone. I don't think I'm ever coming back, you know. And he said, you can come back, man. And here I am, you know. So that's my gig on hopelessness.
Yes. All right. Nick, go.
Yeah, you know, like everybody had said, man, just constantly being in the same old shit over and over again, and then get a little tune up, whether it be a detox, a little treatment, get a little, and then find myself right back in the same spot and just saying, man, how did I get here again? How did I get here again? What am I doing? And, you know, it's so cliche, and I haven't heard this in a long time, but we just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, I remember when I finally just said, I'm done, like how tired I was, man. And it wasn't like one event, it was an accumulation of years of just the constant jails, institutions, the running, you know, whether it be the hustle, running from the cops, running from this person, trying to rob that person, and that not having a soul, like Johnny said, like nothing in there. And I remember my son's mother was pregnant with my son, and at the end there, you know, she's probably halfway through her pregnancy. I don't know, even closer to him being born, and just thinking to myself, there's no way I can do this, right? I can't even be a father, right? Most people are supposed to, like, you're going to have some fears or whatever, but, you know, you've been, oh man, a boy, right? I'm supposed to be so excited about this, right? Like, something to carry on my namesake. And I thought my best for him was going to be to put a bullet in my head to make sure he could get a monthly check. You know what I'm saying? Like, to make sure that at least that way I'll be able to take care of my kid. And even with like the going to prisons and things like that, I always thought I could come home and still do my shit, but do it different, right? Do it better. It was that part on the inside, man, when there was nothing left. There was nothing in there, man. There was nothing. Like, it got to a point where I would see that person in the mirror and spit in that guy's face, man. You know what I mean? Like, I hated that guy so much. And just didn't want to live anymore, you know? And then, unfortunately, I didn't get into this process and just nail it the first time, man, hit a home run and keep, you know, I decided to go back out and do a little more research. And like Johnny said, man, it didn't take too long to get right back to where I was in that point, and that emptiness, that hopelessness, that dread, right? waking up every day and a new day brought on more dreadfulness, like dreading what I had to go do, but I still had to go do it to get through the day. Like, you know, I don't want to dread my life anymore, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to dread existing, right? Like, I get one shot at this, man, at life. You know, there isn't another quarter I get to put in. And like you said, man, I don't hear too much anymore. I just don't want to feel sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. Because when I was out there, I was sick and tired. You know, I remember just being exhausted, man, mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, empty inside. And you know, there's some crazy situations that I had been in. And like you said, like a normal person would be like, whoa, I need to tighten shit up and maybe stop doing what I'm doing. And I'd get out of those situations and think, man, I'm just a slick motherfucker. That's how I got through this, you know, like I'm smarter than the rest of these cats. So don't they know, you know? And it was that fucking dreading of my life, man. That like not having anything inside and hating that guy I seen in the mirror, you know? I don't want to hate me anymore, man. You know, so I think I'm gonna stick to this for a bit.
Beautiful. And then I'd like to thank everybody for their questions. Thank everybody for being vulnerable. Since we just shared about our hopelessness, maybe we'll take just a quick few 15, 20 seconds each of us to tell us something that we experienced this weekend that gave us hope or that we're hopeful about, a sense of gratitude, what have you. I'll just start out. I'll say that, man, this weekend I got to get up, drive over to the East Coast, see the sunrise, surf, come back, get like a 30-minute, you know, moment of rest, and then shoot up to celebrate my good friend beating cancer, you know,
Yay!
and doing it with grace and dignity. And, you know, it just shows me how good my source is. And once you connect to this deal, man, what it can do for just some normal people like us, you know, what a beautiful deal. I love all you guys.
We love you, buddy. I'm grateful for the very same things. I'm grateful for friends that are becoming family. You know, I'm grateful that I get to spend time with you guys. I'm grateful that we got to celebrate you, Tiffany. That was amazing. And, you know, I'm grateful for another day with my family, with a roof over my head, things that I take for granted today that I prayed so hard for in the beginning.
I think all of those things that everybody said, definitely celebrating Tiffany overcoming cancer is like the brightest spot I think could be in our weekend. Just the connection in general. I know I share this a lot, but I got pretty isolated during the pandemic, working from home and you know, just doing everything from home, and being able to connect with people has really, I mean, I see God through my friends, and I see the miracles that he's performing in our lives through my friends. So having that connection back in my life has really been good for me. So I'm definitely grateful for that.
I'm grateful to be present today. Recovery gave me the ability to be present. And all those things that you guys have talked about, I got to be there with family, I got to be there with friends. Like, I would not have been there if I was still putting one in me. I would have found something else to do. So I'm grateful for presence.
Go ahead, Justin.
I can go. All right. I didn't know if Nick was gonna go or not. I was like,
The Mexican standoff.
I'll go, and then Tiffany will go, since you know. Yeah, we got to celebrate my wife. You know, that was the thing. I'm not good at throwing surprise parties, so like,
You did great.
I'm not a surpriser. You know, I'm a very factual person, and like, this is what it is, you know. But I invited everybody over just to have a little celebration of Tiffany, because she is an amazing person, and to you know, what we've gone through in these past couple months, we need to celebrate, you know, that she's beat cancer and that we can move on with life because we haven't been living. And, you know, when she has something, I have something. When I have something, she has something. That's how relationships work, you know, and now we get to go live, you know, and we're talking about, you know, dude, I'm grateful that I get to go on a month on vacation with her in an RV that I've never done before and go to the Keys with my dad. Like, I've never been to the Keys and I'm from Florida. Like, come on, people. Like, but Yuzu was too much that was more important than trying to travel and stuff and do things. So, you know, and then we went to, what was that? The fall festival with all of us again, you know, and it was good stuff, man. So, yeah, definitely what James said, being present, being there for people and not making it all about me through this whole thing that she's been through, because I'm really good at making it about me. Go ahead, babe.
I mean, I know it might sound a little cliche, but in all reality, I'm grateful today that I have all of your guys' support and love, because I say it from the bottom of my heart. Like, I would not have made it and kept pushing through those days without all of your guys' messages and checking in and stopping by and sending meals. And, you know, I'm thankful that we have in recovery, we have such a good family to take care of us. And I love you all. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I was, you know, happy to be a part of all that last night, and grateful to just sit around and have some genuine laughs, man. I was sitting in there and, you know, sitting around and I was just laughing, and those good laughs when you start getting some tears, you know, like that good genuine laugh, and you know, that sometimes is just right on time. And then through this process, you know, when I'm paying attention, I get these little like jewels dropped on me, gems. And, you know, I've mentioned on here before that my dad died of a drug overdose, and then talking about the hopelessness, like, now my best thinking was thinking, okay, man, put one in your head and you'll be able to at least make your kid get a check. And then Friday night, coming home from his baseball practice, we had been talking about my dad, and he had asked me, he said, do you have any pictures, or what did he look like? And I said, no, buddy, I don't have any pictures, but I'll get some. And he's like, yeah, get some. And then he asked me what happened. I said, you know, my dad was sick and he died 20 years ago. And then he sat there for a minute and thought. And then he said, well, Dad, I'm glad nothing happened to you. You know what I mean? Like, coming full circle through this process, per se, you know?
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. I just want to thank everybody. Okay, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll have our Addiction to Success Thursday, correct? This week?
No, it's Wednesday. It's back to our normal schedule. Okay. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. We're going to have Ariana sharing her story of addiction, from active addiction to recovery. So, okay.
And yeah, I just want to add one quick thing, Justin, for you and Tiffany. I mean, you guys, you said that you haven't been living, but from an objective outsider looking in, you guys define the definition of living. That is what living means, is when adversity comes, you guys face it with compassion, with grace, with dignity. And I watched both of you, you know, albeit sometimes there was chaos, of course, and a little emotions, but for the most part, you guys showed up. And what an example of how this deal works. And I saw it, and I just want you guys, both of you are beautiful and amazing souls. And to go through that and be there for your kids and, you know, still show up in your friends' lives, that is living. That is a very definition of it. And I just wanted you to know I saw that. So,
absolutely. 100% agree.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for a great. All right.
Hi, James.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Go Bucks.
Bye.